What is up, everybody? What is up? What is up? Welcome to episode number 78 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast about two brothers who are former WWE employees that like to talk about both wrestling and video games. I am one of the brothers, El Murpho, one of your hosts, and I'm going it solo once again this week. D. Murph, unfortunately, had a very, very busy weekend, was not able to make it out today. I checked with him to see if he would maybe want to do the show Sunday instead of Saturday, but he was unfortunately too busy for that as well. Unfortunately, just me, which is also unfortunate because he went to a live event for NXT, a local NXT live event last night, and we were going to get his take on how the show went and how the live event was, but we're going to have to wait another week for that. This episode, however, is going to feature a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happened. We're going to cover mostly the AEW's Double or Nothing ticket announcement party, all the big news that happened with that. Kenny Omega officially announcing that he's been signed. We're going to quickly go over the weekly WWE TV recap. I didn't get a chance to watch as much WWE weekly TV as I wanted to. Really only that little bit of Raw when I was streaming my WWE 2K19 gameplay on Twitch at twitch.tv/Murpho, where you can also find this podcast live, by the way. BT Dubs. BTW. So I didn't really get to catch and watch much, but I did put in some of the highlights as notes that I will mention in case anybody wants to check back and see what was there. I've also got a couple highlights that I want to touch on from New Japan, from their New Beginning events. Then I got stuff on the Superstar Shakeup. Then in gaming, we're going to be talking mostly about Apex Legends, the game that is taken over Twitch and just the video game industry, taking it by storm. We've got a whole bunch of news. I played it last night with Tony Pizza Guy and one of his fellow streamer and friends and followers, Daredevil. So I'm gonna give you guys input on all of that. I've also got some, the first reviews have come through. We're going to talk about that, all different stuff. We're also going to talk about the Marshmello concert, which happened literally pretty much right after we went off the air last week. So I was able to catch the encore of that. So we're going to talk about that. There's a story about Activision that's important, and then a whole bunch of gaming quick hits. So without further ado, let's roll on into the weekly WWE recap, the TV recap. One of the biggest stories what happened that bled from Raw into SmackDown is that the man Becky Lynch appeared. Stephanie McMahon confronted her on Raw. Becky Lynch slapped and attacked her after she was getting suspended indefinitely by Stephanie, potentially teasing some sort of Stephanie McMahon angle. I don't know if they would do it at Elimination Chamber. Maybe they're setting up for because Stephanie is the commissioner of Raw, and if Becky wins the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, which it is believed to be the case against Ronda Rousey, we could pretty much have, a lot of people have been drawing comparisons to this Becky Lynch run to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, Stone Cold was just as good when he had Vince. Maybe they're setting up basically like the next generation of Vince versus Austin, with Becky Lynch going up against Stephanie, with Stephanie facing off against Becky after Becky's won the championship at WrestleMania. So maybe setting the seeds for that. We also had Becky came out on SmackDown, even though she was suspended indefinitely. I can't remember if that was specifically on Raw or both shows, but Triple H came out to confront her, and then Becky Lynch just slapped him as well. Becky Lynch was taking no prisoners, just gave it no Fs whatsoever this week. And it's just also her Twitter game is still also completely fire. She is firing on all cylinders right now, and I can't wait to see just the place erupt in New York, New Jersey, East Rutherford, New Jersey, for WrestleMania, for when she hopefully, at least when she comes out for her entrance, and hopefully for when she wins the championship. Other stuff that happened this week, we found out who the final teams in the Elimination Chamber match to crown the first WWE Women's Tag Team Champions are, and that is, of course, the Boston Hug Connection, Sasha and Bayley, to no one's surprise. The Iconics, also no one's surprise. And then coming out of left field, coming out of the left field, is Naomi and Carmella, who just suddenly decided to form a tag team and were named to the match, because the way that it worked was on Raw, the women had to earn the match, battle for the match, and win matches to get a spot in said match. I said match a lot of times right there, but anyway, on SmackDown, the competitors were just announced, revealed. And I'll get to an updated Elimination Chamber card when I talk about all of that. When I get down to that later, when we wrap up this weekly TV recap. Other big stuff, EC3 finally made his in-ring main roster debut in his first match, and he faced Dean Ambrose, and he actually won. So, good on EC3. Who knows whether or not this is them maybe trying to drag Dean Ambrose through the mud and make him... I'm still not entirely sure what to make of this Dean Ambrose thing, because a lot of people are saying he's on his way out. Part of me thinks it's maybe a WrestleMania type storyline. So I don't know if this is like WWE trying to humiliate Dean, and like make Dean not look as strong, so that way he goes out of the E weak, looking weak, or if he's just, or if they're just doing this to build him up closer to WrestleMania. Knock him down so that way he can rise up when WrestleMania comes and goes, and it turns out, oh, he's still going to be with the company. So we'll got to watch this very closely. I'm still not sure what to make of the whole situation, but still, props to EC3 for pulling out his first win on the show, even though apparently he had a promo on a Moment of Bliss, which led to Nia Jax interrupting, which led to Dean Ambrose interrupting, where he didn't really say much. So it'd be interesting to see if, we could actually get EC3 talking, promo-wise. But, yeah. And then in other Elimination Chamber card stuff, things that were announced was Akira Tozawa defeated Cedric Alexander, Humberto Carrillo, and Leo Rush in a number one contenders fatal 4-way elimination match. So he will face Biddy Murphy at the Elimination Chamber for the Cruiserweight Championship. And then Ronda Rousey officially found her opponent for Elimination Chamber, and that is Ruby Riott. So the current Elimination Chamber card is Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Mustafa Ali, and Samoa Joe in an Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Then we've got Ronda Rousey defending her Raw Women's Championship against Ruby Riott. We've got Nia Jax and Tamina versus Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan versus Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus Peyton Royce and Billie Kay versus Naomi and Carmella in the Elimination Chamber match to crown the first ever women's tag team champions. Then we've also got the SmackDown tag team champions of Shane McMahon and The Miz defending their championships against the Usos. Then we also finally have Cruiserweight champion Buddy Murphy defending against Akira Tozawa. So that's everything that happened in WWE. Really not a ton of big news happening in WWE this week, because they're in the build to Elimination Chamber. The go home week is next week. So we'll probably have some more interesting stuff to talk about there. And Big Stupid is before I depart from the WWE weekly recap, Big Stupid chimes in saying, I don't think he would let them, meaning Dean Ambrose, just embarrass him, especially since he's not under contract after Mania. I think he'd just pull a Neville/Punk and not show till he was a free agent. That's true. That's fair. That or Dean Ambrose is just the kind of person where he'll just do his job until it's over. But I don't know. Like, I do kind of agree with you, though. Like, it's kind of like, if your contract is running out, it's a very good point. If your contract's running out, and it's only a matter of time, and they're gonna they're gonna bury you week in, week out, why not just sit out the rest of your contract and refuse to go? What are they gonna do? Fire you? Because then you can leave before WrestleMania. So that's another good point by Big Stupid as to why it is that this is all just maybe just an angle, just to give Dean Ambrose something good for WrestleMania. This whole him leaving thing, or at least the whole him not doing well in the last few weeks. So with the WWE stuff out of the way, it's in our rearview mirror, at least until we get to a quick hit later. Let's talk about AEW. They had their Double or Nothing ticket announcement party, the whole thing of which, by the way, you can watch on the Being the Elite YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com, find the Being the Elite channel, which is, where it's basically the Elite's YouTube channel. It's where the Being the Elite show is. And you can catch the thing in its entirety from start to finish on their channel. And the big news that came out is the confirmation. D. Murph and I were talking about it. I've been talking about it for weeks. I felt like Kenny was going to sign with AEW with all the signs that were going with everything he was talking about. New Japan and him going out on his back at Wrestle Kingdom and all that. It just, all signs were pointing to him signing with AEW, and he officially confirmed it by appearing at the end of the show, of the announcement party, to close it out, and revealed that, yes, he has indeed signed with AEW. And before the show closed, and before he gave his goodbye and good night, I believe it is, bang, catchphrase to end the party, Chris Jericho actually came out and interrupted him, and they got into a bit of a scuffle, bit of a kerfuffle, and mixed it up a little bit, got hands and faces and whatnot. They had to be separated. Jericho had to be dragged to the back by like 4 security guards. And it seems like they're teasing that these two are going to have a rematch at Double or Nothing, which, yes, I am all for that. Their Wrestle Kingdom match was incredible last year. And I would very much like a second helping of that, please, right now in my eye sockets. Right into my eye sockets. Put it right in my veins as well. Put it into my veins while inserting it into my eye sockets. Do both at the same time. Yes, please, very much. After the announcement party, Omega actually had an interview with Dave Meltzer. Davey Meltz got on Wrestling Observer News, Wrestling Observer Radio, with Kenny Omega, and grilled him about the details of his contract. We found out quite a lot of interesting stuff about Kenny and his deal, and how he came to make his decision with AEW. He said that he is an executive vice president, which is the same type of title that Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks have as far as AEW goes. It's a 4-year deal. So he is going to be with AEW for 4 years. So do not expect, if you hear any rumors about Kenny Omega going to WWE next year, in 2020, 2021, 2022, ignore it. He's not going to be available again until 2023. And he also said that it is the largest contract of his career. Again, emphasizing what we've heard before about how the cons are shelling out the dough for these superstars, paying them what they are worth. Even more so, potentially even more than they would make in WWE. However, Kenny said, even though it's an AEW contract, he's been given the green light and the freedom, like with Chris Jericho, to work in New Japan anytime he wants. So we have not actually seen the last of Kenny Omega in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We could see Kenny Omega pop up once again for occasional matches and for Wrestle Kingdoms. So this is not the end of Kenny Omega and NGPW. He also said one of the biggest things about this contract that really helps sell AEW over WWE and New Japan was that AEW is giving him the freedom to do all different types of media crossovers. He namely mentioned esports. As many people know, Kenny Omega is a huge fighting game fan. He is big into the FGC. He has, he's had E3 events and stuff doing fighting games with Austin Creed / Xavier Woods, The New Day. I believe if he hasn't been to EVO, he's a big fan of EVO. He really wants to get more into that FGC community and be able to do more stuff with the FGC and the esports around that. He also mentioned other media crossovers he wants to do, such as stuff with ESPN. He wants to do some acting. He wants to be in and make documentaries, and AEW has allowed him the freedom to be able to do that, which New Japan and WWE was not willing to do. How he did say, however, that the decision was, and this is, he was asked by Dave Meltzer if it was something that like he knew if he knew like well ahead of time what he was going to do, if there was an offer that he just couldn't turn down, or if it was a lot of quote twisting and turning and a lot of twisting and turning and a lot of sleepless nights. And he did say that it was indeed a lot of twisting and turning and a lot of sleepless nights trying to decide which company to sign with amongst New Japan, All Elite, and WWE. This is an actual quote from him talking about that from the interview with Meltzer. And he said, there was no clear-cut winner in the negotiation phase where it was like, oh, this is easy, I gotta go with this. It was never that, because there's always going to be positives and negatives to every scenario. And then he went on to talk about WWE and their offer, and he actually said that despite the fact that some people were giving him like warnings about like negotiating with them and the kind of deals they offer them, he actually had a positive experience in the negotiation process at WWE. He said that he has, quote, nothing but great things to say about them, and he seriously considered their offer and found discussing a potential deal with them, quote unquote, the most surprising of all of his negotiations because of the warnings that people gave them, and I guess they were trying to be very accommodating to him, or as much as accommodating as they could be, being WWE or by WWE standards. And so it shocked him. The final thing that came up in the interview is that he mentioned that, which I'll mention. This is another thing I was going to get to about the announcement party, is that he mentioned that in addition to OWE, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, and AAA, which was announced as a partner with AEW at the announcement party, he mentions that the door is open for any company whatsoever, doesn't matter who they are, to work in partnership with AEW. So that's pretty much that. AEW got their ace. AEW got their guy, and they really needed Kenny. Like, Cody is amazing. Cody's a good draw. The Bucks are awesome. Hangman Page is great. The talent they were signing, what they were doing was awesome, but they also really needed somebody in addition to Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho, one of the best in the world, certified legend, definite Hall of Famer, but they needed that one guy who is still in his prime, at the top of his game, can pull out 5, 6, and according to Meltzer, 6.5, 7-star matches just willy-nilly. And they got that in Kenny Omega. So they finally have their big-time headliner. And it's going to make things very, very interesting once AEW announces their TV deal and their plans post Double or Nothing, which they did not touch on in this ticket announcement party. But there was a lot more being announced at this ticket announcement party. And this makes me really excited for what AEW is. This gave a lot of insight into how AEW is operating, the kind of talent they're looking for, and the caliber. Also showing that, like, they aren't being, I guess so to say, like, elitist, which is a funny term, with where they're getting their talent from. Because as you look at the announcements, I'll get through it all, and I'll come back to this actually when I talk about the full roster. Let me not get sidetracked. Anyway, the other big stuff that happened at the ticket announcement party was that the Young Bucks came out. They talked about tag team wrestling. They introduced the Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent Beretta. Beretta revealed that they will be signing with AEW, and they mentioned how they want to make tag team wrestling important. They believe that tag team wrestling can be the main event of wrestling. And then while they were in the middle of their spiel, the Lucha Bros, which is Pentagon and Phoenix, came out and attacked them. Like, legit attacked them. I believe it was Matt took a package pile driver on the stage and had to be helped off by Nick and a couple other people. So that set up a potential match between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks for Double or Nothing. I don't believe it's been officially confirmed yet, though. I mentioned AAA. AAA was revealed to be the second partner for a partner promotion for AEW. And as part of that partnership, AAA Cruiserweight Champion Sammy Guevara came out and announced that he will also be a member of AEW, and that AEW doesn't know what they've got coming for them in the form of Sammy Guevara. Another announcement was SoCal Uncensored, which is also known as SCU, made up of Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, revealed that not only were they now members of AEW, but that they would be competing against CIMA, who is one of the who is a legend. He was trained, if I remember correctly from the announcement party, trained by the original Dragon. I can't remember if that means Ultimo Dragon or not. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. As well as 2 mystery partners of his choosing from OWE. And that will be happening at Double or Nothing. Other roster reveals was Sonny Kiss, who is a Northeastern independent wrestler. For those of you who don't know, very flamboyant, effeminate pro wrestler. He's got a great gimmick. He's actually worked quite a few guys, a few of my friends who actually work in the independents in the Northeast scene. And it's kind of great to see, like, I've seen Sonny Kiss, like, showing up in clips that my friends have been posting on their personal Facebooks, and, like, ads that they've been putting on their personal Facebook for wrestling shows they're showing up. And it's just cool to see somebody like that, somebody like Sonny Kiss get signed. And I guess I'll get to this now, like, just seeing That people like Sonny Kiss and Jungle Boy getting signed give me hope that guys who might be in the lower of indies but are making a name for themselves, they don't have to go through the process of maybe taking a step up, go from those to then ROH, and then they have to toil away on ROH for a while, and then maybe they go to Pro Wrestling Noah for a while in Japan and go to New Japan, and they have to build themselves up in New Japan from the bottom of the card up, and then maybe they can establish themselves as a main eventer in ROH or go to WWE, or that's like the path you have to go to get to AEW. No, if you're really, really good, even if you're doing these regional indies, you can get signed to AEW. You're probably not going to make nearly as much money as, say, the Young Bucks, the members of the Elite, SoCal Uncensored, the people who have established themselves. But it's great to see that AEW is giving those kinds of opportunities to people. And gives me hope that maybe some of my friends will eventually get signed by AEW, because that would be dope. Also, in the news from stuff that happened at the announcement party, Kylie Rae and Nyla Rose were brought out by Brandi Rhodes as new members of the women's division. A standoff occurred between the two of them, so we may get those two at Double or Nothing. Or it might just be like, maybe they'll be part of a multi-man, but it seemed like it might be the two of them. Kylie Rae, she came out. I love her gimmick. This is the first I've seen of her and Nyla Rose. I liked both their gimmicks. Nyla Rose came out big and intimidating. Kylie Rae came out all smiles, very bubbly, very friendly, very nice, very good babyface kind of persona and gimmick. And then afterwards, or before Nyla Rose came out, and I think also before Kylie Rae came out, Brandi revealed that Yukawa Sakazaki and Aja freaking Kong are both going to become members of the women's division in All Elite Wrestling. And also, we finally got confirmed that Adam Hangman Page and Pac will be happening at Double or Nothing. Adam Hangman Page came out in regular clothing because there was this running joke. If you don't watch Being the Elite, there was a running joke in Being the Elite that Cody was upset with Page for coming out at the original rally in quote-unquote full gear. And he said that Adam Page does not have the body type to come out to walk around in full gear, unlike Pac, who is absolutely shredded. So I think it was last week's episode of Being the Elite. Go watch it. It's a hilarious segment where basically like they're sitting at a conference table after this indie show. Cody and Billy Gunn are on one side, and there's a talent relations guy in between them, and then Adam Hangman Page is on the other side. And it's one of those like funny things where like they're negotiating with each other through the talent relations person, but like they're saying it so close to one another they can hear what each other are really saying. It's friggin' hilarious. I highly suggest you watch it. It was either last week or the week before's episode of Being the Elite. So yeah, Adam Hangman Page came out not in full gear, referencing that. And then Pac interrupted him during a video, confirming that the two of them will be having a match against one another. And that was pretty much everything that came out of the ticket announcement party. I thought it was a great event. I had fun watching it. I'm excited by what's coming with Double or Nothing. If you want to know the current AEW roster the current AEW roster now post the rally is Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Brandi Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Adam Hangman Page, Chris Jericho, Pac, MJF, Joey Janela, SoCal Uncensored, Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc, the Best Friends of Chucky T and Trent Beretta, the Lucha Bros of Pento LOM and Phoenix, Sammy Guevara, Sonny Kiss, Britt Baker, Penelope Ford, Yukawa Sakazaki, Aja Kong, Kylie Rae, Nyla Rose, with appearances by the OWE roster and the AAA roster. And currently, the confirmed Double or Nothing card only has 2 matches on it, and that is Adam Hangman Page versus Pac and SCU versus SEMA, and 2 OWE wrestlers to be named later, 2 mystery partners. So that's all the AEW news. A whole massive amount of news regarding All Elite Wrestling. They are looking stacked. And as I mentioned before, from all these signings, especially the ones with Sonny Kiss of Sonny Kiss and Jungle Boy stand out to me to say, if you make a name for yourself, even on the regional promotions, and you're building up a name, you have the potential to end up getting signed to All Elite. You don't have to go into ROH, make a name for yourself in ROH, go to the top of the card in ROH. You don't have to travel out to Japan and make a name for yourself in Pro Wrestling Noah or PWG or New Japan Pro Wrestling to make yourself a name. So that's the big stuff here in the wrestling side. Other wrestling news, while we're speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, they had their New Beginning event both in Japan and in the U.S. Took place over the last weekend over a few events. I have one highlight each, like a couple highlights total takeaways from these events. The big highlight from the New Beginning events in Japan were that Jay White got two clean tap outs on Tanahashi, one each in both shows, to allow Jay White in these multi-man matches to go over clean on Tanahashi. And it was a reverse figure four that he is now dubbing which is good storyline use because of what happened at New Beginnings. He's calling it the TTO, or Tanahashi Tap Out. And then the big highlight from the USA shows is that a match between Carl Fredericks and Clark Connors at New Beginning USA Charlotte, as well as Juice Robinson versus Trent Beretta for the NJPW United States Championship, which was the main event of the night. They both got standing ovations from the crowd. Fredericks and Connors was actually a 10-minute draw, and I believe they were two of the young lions from the American dojo in Los Angeles, if I can remember correctly. So looks like they're really trying to build up Jay White to look to be something good, something big in the company. Obviously, who knows if he's actually going to defeat Tanahashi? We'll find out as time goes on. And, Fredericks and Connors, apparently they did really well at New Beginnings USA Charlotte. So those might be two names you might want to keep an eye out for. And, of course, Juice Robinson and Trent Beretta proving how good they are and how good of an addition to All Elite Wrestling Trent Beretta is, and how valuable to New Japan Pro Wrestling Juice Robinson is becoming. The only other thing in wrestling that I've got this week is a quick hit regarding WWE and the Superstar Shakeup. This was revealed in a WWE Now video, which was hosted by my friend of the show, Ryan Popola, who I worked with. I've been friends with for years before I worked at WWE, and then I started working at WWE. I helped him to get his position at WWE. I let him use my name as a reference when he applied. Encouraged him to apply. He got the job, and I worked with him for about a year and a half before I separated ways, went different ways, parted ways, that's the phrase, with WWE. And now he's just continuing to kill it. If you've seen him, he's been doing WWE Now for a while. He's stepped in whenever Kathy Kelly's been unable to do it. And he also was the one who did that spoken word, what's the name of it? Not it wasn't a rap. It was more of like the spoken word poetry to music on SmackDown 1000. He was the one who did that. He was the artist behind that video. And that's it for wrestling this week. So I think I did a pretty good job. I actually got through all of that in about a half an hour. I think that's a new accomplishment. Probably also because I don't have D-Murph to talk about like back and forth on all of this stuff. We're going to get into gaming now. And so the top story in gaming is this small game. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, called Apex Legends, dropped seemingly out of nowhere on Monday. It is from Respawn Entertainment, published by EA, and it has taken Twitch and the gaming world by storm. It is so good. I'm having fun with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I played it last night with Tony Pizza. Again, I mentioned before I played last night with Tony Pizza Guy and Daredevil, and I played for 5 hours, I think, last night. I played a couple matches on PC, then I jumped on a PS4, played with those guys. I was having fun. It is a free-to-play battle royale game set in the Titanfall universe, and it is a 3-team squad. They only have a squad-only mode, and it is pretty much Titanfall gameplay, or if you want to, because Respawn is from former Infinity War developers, you can also say it's Titanfall / Call of Duty-esque gameplay. combined with in a battle royale setting, combined with the Overwatch hero shooter model, where you have different heroes that have different personalities and different abilities, different traits, different roles they can fulfill in a game. So it's a hero game along the lines of League of Legends, like MOBAs, and also like Overwatch. Big Stupid says, yeah, D-Murph trying to crow in the revival takes up a tremendous amount of time. Yeah, no, we didn't talk about the revival this week, but anyway, there was some FTR chants at the AEW ticket announcement party rally, by the way. Anyway, back to Apex Legends. Like I said, squad-only games. It's 60 players, so that's 3-man teams. So that's 20 teams drop in at once. I'll get to the game has exploded on Twitch. It has dethroned Fortnite as recently as I think Tuesday or Wednesday, or as early as Tuesday and Wednesday. It dethroned Fortnite as the most watched game, and as recently as today, I literally checked an hour ago, about an hour and a half ago, it has double the viewership of Twitch right now, or of Fortnite on Twitch right now. It is killing it, and it has a large positive reception from fans and from gamers. I enjoyed it. Like I said, if you guys watch, I'm not too great at it. I'm learning how to add in the battle royale scavenging thing and the shooting along with trying to make my mind be like, you're mixing the battle royale with the Fortnite. Know how to use the abilities when you're playing. So I'm trying to learn how to do that. I did find one good place to drop though, the pit. BT Dubs. Pit is a good place to drop. Secrets out, but that's going to be my go-to place to drop for that game going forward. We have a couple of reviews. Most people are in their like early, like early impressions type of writing. They haven't gone with a full review yet, but some outlets have. So I just wanted to read some of these off, and this emphasizes the positive reception that the game's been getting. Games Radar gave it a 5 out of 5. Game Informer gave it a 9.25 out of 10. GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10. And Mashable, they didn't do a score, but their headline says Apex Legends reinvents the wheel on team play in first-person shooters. So very positive reception from everybody. We have a few quotes on the game's longevity, what this means for Titanfall going forward and whatnot, and crossplay. So I want to touch on that right now. We have a quote with regards to how long Respawn wants this game to last, longevity, what they want to do with the game. And this is from design director Mackie McCandlish via Kirk McKeon at VG247. And the quote says, "We want this to be a 10-year game. It's egotistical to say that. They said the same thing when they made Destiny." Ow, that hurts my soul because I still love Destiny. And with League of Legends, they say, "How do we make this something people play forever? Not something that trails off a bit over the next 10 years. There's so much opportunity in this universe. There's so much opportunity in this young genre. And I love playing it so much. We play the game for hours every day." So just simple thing. They're dedicated to making it an established, long-standing game. But, as much as I love hearing this from developers, it is hard to continue to do that. Overwatch still very, very popular, but that's fading in popularity. PUBG, but I mean fading is because I'm going to say this about all these games. Not so much that they're like dead games and that nobody pays attention, nobody cares about them. What I'm saying is that they're just not as popular as they were in their prime, but they still have a strong community. But Overwatch doesn't have the fan base of viewership that it used to have. PUBG doesn't have it. Like we said, Destiny doesn't. League of Legends is still up there. So props to League of Legends. Even World of Warcraft. I mean, granted, World of Warcraft's been around for about 15 years now. The fact that it's still in the top 10. I was looking at stream numbers based on 2018, and World of Warcraft's still in the top 10 of streaming. So maybe what they're trying to get at is that they want it to have longevity. They know it's not going to be the top game consistently, but they want it to be able to last and be in people's minds for the next 10 years. So hopefully they do that. They're off to a good start based on my early impressions playing the game for 5 hours last night. And then with regards to, a lot of people had some negative things to say about Apex Legends, and a fair amount of it apparently was from Titanfall fans who were worried that this meant that there is no Titanfall 3 and this was supposed to be Titanfall 3. However, Vince Zampella eased them and eased their minds and assured them that this isn't the end, that Titanfall 3 could still be in the works. There was a tweet sent out from Vince Zampella, the CEO of Respawn, that said, quote, "Tons of things planned for @Play Apex in the future. We are also committed to listening to player feedback. We are also working on more Titanfall for later in the year. Yes, I said the T word. We love being able to experiment in this crazy universe." And Big Stupid in the chat, you say, besides Fortnite, every game falls by the wayside. It's just the way society is now. It's like piranha in the ocean when they smell blood. Yeah, that's true. Like, that's the thing. And it's always been the way with gaming because so many new games come out every single year. It is so hard to stay at number one for longer than 1 year. And that's just it's not so much the nature of society, it's just the nature of the video game business and the video game industry. And that's why, as much as I love esports, as much of a proponent I am for esports, I really think there needs to be a better solution for how to handle esports and esports leagues. I think the best way to do it is the way that some teams do it, where, like, say, a Cloud9 or a Team Solo Mid, where their main game was League of Legends, but, like, they have teams in different games. I think, like, what needs to happen is take what's going on with the Overwatch League right now, which is still fun to watch, hell of fun to watch, is maybe take the Overwatch League, but span it across different sports. Have an esports league that has teams run in each, like, regional area, but each regional area can change its sports. Like, they all have the same team name, kind of like how Team Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid goes, but it's across different games. So, like, the New York Excelsior have an Overwatch team, let's say Apex Legends becomes an esport, an Apex Legends team, a League of Legends team, a Fortnite team, a PUBG team, a Street Fighter 5 team, a Dragon Ball Fighters team, and it's technically all in one league, but it's different, and it's all under the same team name and region name, but it's all different kinds of games, because then you can eventually rotate out different games when the games are no longer have a lucrative enough have a lucrative enough revenue stream. And this doesn't mean that, if a player is playing in Overwatch and say, like, 3 years from now, the Overwatch League isn't doing well anymore, that doesn't mean that those players are gone. Like, if they're good, maybe the teams can place them in other games. Because I think there are some players who have made names for themselves in different games. Being stupid. Yeah, that's a good idea, but who's going to foot the bill for that? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Maybe, like, if the Overwatch League wasn't, I think it's run and operated by Activision Blizzard. If it wasn't owned and operated by Activision Blizzard and there was some, third-party source, then it would be easier to do it. Like, say, what if EVO did something like that? Like, EVO, the actual organization, the actual event itself, had made a league around itself that's comprised of all these different teams. Like, what if that's how EVO operated? If EVO had the money to foot that bill, and EVO was just like, okay, we've got a New York team, an LA team, a Seoul team, a Toronto team. I'm just throwing names, throwing cities out of a hat. And they each have players. They each have a small bit of players that are teams that excel in Street Fighter 5, that excel in Mortal Kombat, that excel in Dragon Ball Fighters, that thrive in Super Smash Brothers. And if they can actually, like, get people to invest, like private investors, kind of like what Overwatch League did with the Jeff Wilpons and the Robert Krafts of the world and the Mark Cubans of the world, get them to buy into those teams and let them house the teams. Maybe they can foot the bill for it. EVO can foot the bill for the league, and do stuff like that. Like maybe like I said, like some sort of governing body. There needs to be some sort of governing body, and not just the developer or publisher who owns the game. And I think that's the path to where esports has to go. I think in the future, for it to be able to be a long-term thing, because no one game is going to last forever, let alone like 5 or 10 years. So I think that's where esports has to evolve to. How it gets there, I don't know, but that's just where I see esports going and where it has to go in order for it to continue to grow and thrive. And I did not expect to go on like a 10-minute discussion about the current what's the word? The current ecosystem, I think it is, environment of esports and where it could go in the future. But that's what happens. We sometimes go on tangents on the show. Anyway, want to get more into some of this Apex Legends stuff. This was a discussion about crossplay. A lot of people are hoping that Apex Legends, like Fortnite and like Rocket League, will have cross-platform play, hopefully across Xbox, PC, and PS4, which are the three platforms that it's available for right now. Lead producer Drew McCoy had a quote, commented on this. This was via Matthew Reynolds at Eurogamer when asked about if it would have cross-play at the beginning or cross-play at all. And he said, yeah, and I quote, yeah, not at launch, unfortunately. But we do have plans for allowing players to play with their friends on other platforms. No time frame for that, unfortunately. Big Stupid said, the only problem is sooner or later you run out of progressive owners. I mean, that's kind of true, but if esports continues to make money, they might find a way to make it work. Who knows how Overwatch League is? I don't know the financials of Overwatch League, but if it's been successful, it seems like it's been popular enough. It could it could still lure investors in. If there is money to be made in esports, it'll happen. I guess we just got to see, because I don't think esports definitely isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. The only question is just how do you best organize it to where it's good, it's best for the players, it's best for the consumers, it's best for the owners, because we don't want to have these leagues popping up that are only going to exist for 5-10 years. So yeah, it's a problem that I hope that people are addressing. And I do understand what you're saying, Big Stupid, where it's like, like how many more times are the Robert Krafts and Mark Cubans of the world and the Jeff Wilpons of the world going to just shell out millions upon millions of dollars on a league that's going to be, extinct within 10 years? Because even if Overwatch does last 10, 15, 20, even if it goes 20 years, who knows? But then again, also, another solution to this is sequels. If sequels work, because eventually Overwatch 2 will come out, maybe Overwatch 3, Overwatch 4, and then that's where the longevity goes out. So again, sequels can also affect the longevity. So who knows? The last thing I want to touch on with regards to Apex Legends, and this triggered some people. I don't care. I like to see progressiveness in games. And I'm like fine with them fleshing out their characters in whatever way they want. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me as a player. I don't care as long as the character is fun to play. I don't care about their personalities or character traits too much, as long as they're not committing like genocide or whatever in the games. But anyway, that weird preface aside, is the fact that 2 characters in Apex Legends have been revealed by the developers to be members of the LGBTQ community. And those characters are Gibraltar and Bloodhound, who were revealed by the devs as both gay and non-binary, respectively. So I just wanted to point that out, since that was an extra little bit of Apex news. I think that's cool. I think that's cool to have that kind of inclusivity in games. A lot of people are triggered by it this week. I think they're overreacting, and they need to just deal with it. Like, I don't understand how that information changes a game where you're just shooting at people and trying to outlast other people in a shooting game. But that's just me. That's just one guy's opinion. And that's all that I've got on Apex Legends. So we're going to move on to a couple of other A couple of other news things I wanted to touch on before hitting the gaming quick hits and getting out of here for the day. The second story I wanted to touch on was something that happened literally pretty much right after we finished Super Grab Bros last week. And that is that Marshmello held one hell of a concert in Fortnite at Pleasant Park last week and that was at 2 p.m. Eastern time last Saturday on February 2nd. He played it was about a 10 to 15 minute set. I think it clocked in exactly at around, not exactly, but around close to like 13 minutes. And he ran through some of his more popular songs. It was incredibly interactive. They played with the physics. You could jump at certain songs where it emphasized jumping and flying and floating, and you were just floating around in the sky. Big holograms, in-game holograms of Marshmello and Fortnite dancers showed up at different points. There's one point where they did the fly song and everybody went up and was flying around. There was a giant holographic Marshmello flying around. They had the avatar Marshmello performing. Performing there at behind the stage. He was interacting as far as like, I'm sure this was like kind of pre-recorded, not live, but he was actually saying like, "What's up, Pleasant? How's it going? I want everybody to jump. Show me your best emote. Everybody fly with me." They had these beach balls fall down. You could, and I showed up late for the encore. They did an encore later on that day at 2 a.m. Eastern time on February 3rd. So that way those who were asleep while the first one happened had a chance to witness it themselves. I ended up showing up late for that, and you could actually see the lights from the stage and hear the muffled music from all the way across the map. Like, that is the kind of attention to detail that Epic Games showed to this event, and it was an amazing moment, possibly a watershed moment for gaming. It was just amazing, unforgettable. After the concert was over, everybody got dropped back into the game from the top as fireworks went off around them. If you looked up in the sky, the whole sky was lit up with fireworks. And it is being declared, I don't know if it's official or not, but it's being declared as the first ever virtual concert, at least in a video game. And honestly, I loved it. As a fan of Marshmello's music, I've been a fan of Marshmello's music for 2 years now. It was incredible. It was insane. I absolutely loved it. Of course, I ended up shelling out money for the Marshmello gear. Did the challenges with the Marshmello stuff because I'm a Marshmello fan. That's besides the point. I thought it was amazing. There were so many people talking about how great it was to just have this concert experience. It was such an interactive experience. You felt like you were there, even though it was in a video game, a battle royale video game. People were talking about how they were able to experience it with their kids who also like Marshmello's music. How, it's so nice to not have to deal with the traffic and the random drunks. They turned off all the ability to use weapons, so all people could do is use emotes and haplessly swing their pickaxes, which dealt no damage to people. I thought this was great. I think it changed the game. I think it goes to show just what video games are capable of, what they can do. And props to Epic for continually trying to innovate. And props to Marshmello for being such a major fan of Fortnite and video games and wanting to do something revolutionary here. And I really hope that this is just the beginning, that we get more interactive concerts, not just with Marshmello, but hopefully with other types of artists and not just in Fortnite. So I just wanted to talk about that. Big stupid people who own Fortnite, greater sign everybody else in gaming, and it's not people who own Fortnite, greater sign everybody else in gaming, and it's not even close. Oh, greater sign. I get it. People who own Fortnite are greater than everybody else in gaming, and it's not even close. Is that what you're trying to say? Clarify that for me, because I'm having confusion about it. I'm big stupid. I disagree that they made that decision to be super woke and that it's insincere. I think they actually, because it was in like character stuff. Like they were just describing the characters, but I don't want to get into that argument. I personally think it's nice to have fully fleshed out characters in gaming. But yeah, Fortnite is greater than everybody else. Okay. Yeah, Fortnite is just they're killing it. They're crushing the game right now. And just nobody can touch them. Maybe Apex Legends now that Apex Legends has come out, but we'll have to see if this massive surge out of nowhere from Apex Legends holds, or if it'll eventually subside and if people will go back to Fortnite, and if Fortnite can weather this storm. I think Fortnite can. We'll see if Apex Legends can keep up the momentum. And then the final bit of news I want to talk about in depth before I do gaming quick hits is that Activision Blizzard, this report came out earlier today. Activision Blizzard is actually set to suffer massive layoffs this week, possibly Monday or Tuesday. And this is apparently potentially as a result of Bungie breaking away from Activision and Activision losing the Destiny IP. This is an article excerpt from Jason Schreier at Kotaku. And it says, quote, staff at the game publisher Activision Blizzard are preparing for big layoffs next week, waiting to see who will be one of potentially hundreds of employees who could lose their jobs on Tuesday. There's been no official news from the publisher yet, but we first heard word of upcoming layoffs late last year. At the time, Activision and Blizzard staff told me they expected the axe to fall in February, and I started hearing more and more rumors earlier this week, with whispers suggesting that the layoffs would happen ahead of the publisher's quarterly earnings call, which is Tuesday, February 12th, this upcoming Tuesday. That's me adding that. Employees across all of Activision's offices have been kept in the dark as they wait to see what will happen. Some say they're pretty sure they're safe. Others say they fear they will no longer have jobs next week. Last night, Bloomberg reported that the layoffs would take place on Tuesday and number in the hundreds. When contacted earlier this week by Kotaku about the upcoming layoffs, a spokesperson for Activision did not respond to requests for comment. A spokesperson for Blizzard declined to comment twice. So, obviously unfortunate and sad news. It's never good to hear people lose their jobs, lose their livelihood. I've been through, I had a unemployment spell after I parted ways with WWE for almost a year, and it was rough. It was really rough. I don't wish that kind of experience on anybody, having the uncertainty of not being able to find a job after leaving or getting fired from your previous job. And I really hope that whoever is affected by this won't be unemployed for long, and that people in the game industry will reach out to them for any positional openings. So I just wish the best of luck to anybody who gets let go. They have my thought. They're in my thoughts and prayers. They're in our thoughts and prayers from the podcast, and I hope they all land somewhere safe and quickly. But it's a pretty big deal. One of the major publishers could be laying off potentially hundreds of people this week. Big Stupid mentions going back to Apex. If the game doesn't get its servers fixed, they won't last. I mean, it's pretty standard for new games for their for servers to always have issues. I mean, The Division has its private beta, which actually goes right in my gaming quick hits. The Division 2 private beta is going on all weekend, and it's been, from what I've been hearing, it's been having glitching and server issues if you play the game for too long for a certain period of time. So it's server issues are standard. If they still have the issues in a couple weeks, then it's time to worry. But it's the first week, and it blew up to being more popular than Fortnite. So it's kind of understandable and expected for the servers to have issues. I know that last night, when I was playing with Tony was constantly getting kicked out of games, and his game was freezing. But he was under the belief that was actually because he hadn't cleaned out his PS4, and this PS4 was running hot, and he needed to dust it out more so than the servers. And I only got kicked out of our lobby and into the main menu once on PS4, and I didn't have problems on PC when I played, so we'll see. Big Stupid says it's sad these greedy ass companies just using excuses to fire people. We'll see. We'll see what the reasoning is, because if it's because they lost the Destiny IP, apparently I saw in a tweet from another reporter this morning. It might have been Jason Schreier himself, but I don't want to go out and saying that. But was that, there were lots of people on the Activision side in marketing and social media and stuff like that, that were working on the Destiny IP, and the loss of the Destiny IP has left them with little or nothing to do. So, when the sole purpose for their job isn't around, they have nothing to do. Is the company going to be paying them to not do work, or are they going to cut them loose? So it sucks. It's an unfortunate side effect of the Bungie independence, which I'm glad Bungie got independence, but it's also sad to see, like, this is the fallout. These are the consequences of those actions. But if it's other reasoning, then we can look at those reasons then when we get the information and figure out if it was them being greedy, or, just something that they couldn't help. And yeah, Big Stupid, you said that's what you meant, longevity. That's got to be corrected. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, 100%. So let's get into the gaming quick hits. Already mentioned the Division 2 private beta is going on all weekend. I believe it is for anybody who has pre-ordered it. So if you pre-order the game, make sure you get in on it and try it. I've been hearing mixed things. I've heard some good things. I've heard some bad things. I was a big fan of the Division 1, but I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I want to wait and see how the reviews are going out, because money is tight for me. And so I have to be very careful with my gaming decisions, because anything I buy, it's got to last me hopefully a while. Other news, and this one, if it wasn't for the fact that this other stuff happened, this might have been one of the main stories. But Disney has announced in the recent earnings report they will not change their philosophy towards video game licensing and self-publishing. They will continue to license out to third parties, and they said that they have a quote-unquote good relationship with EA. Bob Iger has a quote, if you go and find it. This was via Variety, so you can find the quote from Bob Iger there, but he basically said, "We're very good at making movies, at making television, at making theme parks, at cruises, but we're not very good at video games." So that was his reasoning, basically, for Disney staying the course with EA and not planning to pull back their plan on licensing their games out and trying to self-publish. Also, in the quick hits, Activision revealed that Red Dead Redemption 2 has shipped 23 million units since its release. That's up from 17 million in November. Sea of Thieves, if you guys want to play Sea of Thieves, which has also enjoyed a recent surge in popularity, if you own Sea of Thieves, or if you have a friend that owns Sea of Thieves, you may want to get in touch, because Sea of Thieves, up until Wednesday, from now until Wednesday, they are running a Friends Play Free program, where those who have purchased the game and joined its insider program, which costs nothing, but you do have to get marketing emails from Sea of Thieves, can receive 3 friend codes to be used until, February 13th, this Wednesday. You can go to the Sea of Thieves site and go ahead, join the program, get 3 codes, and be sure to give those codes out to your friends. Thanks to Big Stupid, by the way, for dropping in the Extra Life stuff. I'll get to that at the end of my quick hits. I'll mention that if you guys are curious by what's going on down here and you don't check my gameplay screens. Other stuff is Steam revealed its Steam of the Award winners for 2018. PUBG actually took Game of the Year. You can find all the details on the awards there at the Steam website. Bungie also revealed their plans for Destiny 2's Crimson Days 2019. Which is the game's Valentine's Day event. It kicks off this Tuesday, February 12th. You can get all the details at bungie.net. If you're looking forward to Crackdown 3, but you want to, or you've never played Crackdown 3 and you want to know what Crackdown is all about, the Xbox Marketplace, you can find it on the Xbox Marketplace. You can find the original Crackdown for free. So you can go ahead, grab the original Crackdown, play that, relive some memories, or find out what Crackdown's all about ahead of Crackdown 3. And then the last little bit of quick hits I want to hit is that Stream Elements released a quote-unquote state of the stream. This is more streaming than gaming, but, gaming is a huge part of streaming. But Stream Elements released a State of the Stream report showing the most watched games, how many hours people have watched streams over the last year, which platforms they've done so, and a lot more. Especially, they've also shown how much people have watched the top 100 compared to the top 1,000, the top 10,000, and all the rest. So they break it down. So if you go to the Stream Elements blog, you can read all that information. It's actually a lot of good, like in the weeds kind of analytics info if you're into that kind of thing on just how streaming is doing. And the short and simple answer is that streaming is doing quite well. Quite well. Big Steve says PUBG LOL. Well, the reason why PUBG probably won Game of the Year is that a lot of games are not on Steam anymore. A lot of the bigger games are not on Steam. For example, Apex Legends just came out. That's on Origins. Fortnite, which would be its biggest competitor, that is over on the Epic Game Store. So that's why. And also Black Ops, that's on BlizzNet. So that's probably part of the reasoning, and also the fact that Steam is PC and games like God of War and Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2 have not come to PC. So that's probably why, because Steam's awards are based on games that are available on Steam. All right, and with all of that, guys, that's going to do it for episode number 78 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast, a solo episode. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, this thing right up here, this little bar, if you're looking at the stream, if you're not, and you're curious, what am I talking about a bar on my screen? I am doing Extra Life the entire week of February. I'm trying to raise $1,000 for the Extra Life charity, going to the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital in Westchester County in Valhalla, New York. This is my third time doing an Extra Life event for the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. This one's going all February long. So every single stream in February, I will have my Extra Life information, which I will put in the show notes in the video description of this episode, so you can find it there. This whole month, I will be advertising it in all of my streams and all the stuff I do. So in Super God Bros, I'm sure you'll hear me do this spiel again. You can just head to Extra Life. It's extra.life.org /participant/L_Murpho if you want that out there. Again, it'll be in the notes, and you can donate. And I will be having 2 marathon streams a week from Monday and Tuesday. That'll be February 18th and 19th. 12-hour marathon streams from noon to midnight to help try and drive support and drive donations for this stream. So thank you guys so much if you decide to donate. I appreciate it. I also have a special Shane McMahon alert on the Twitch stream if you donate while I'm streaming. Other housekeeping and stuff as we end it. Do not forget, you can catch this podcast live on Twitch at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can also catch the VOD back on Twitch at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can watch the VOD also on YouTube, on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. Be sure to like, share, comment, all of that. Don't forget to follow on Twitch. You can also listen to the audio version. We have the audio version of Super Grapple Bros on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. So many places where podcasts can be found. You can find it. Just search Super Grapple Bros and subscribe. And do not forget to rate and review as well. If we get official ratings and official reviews, more people can see it. It faces more on the platform. So we would really appreciate any ratings and reviews you guys would like to offer on the podcast. Also, do not forget to join the Discord server. You can join our Discord server, or my Discord server. There are 2 Super Grapple Bros channels in the Discord server. One is general feedback, comments, trivia, all that kind of stuff. And the other one is pay-per-view and wrestling event predictions. Whenever there's a wrestling pay-per-view or an event, me and D-Murph will do predictions. We compete for a predictions belt ourselves, but we let viewers get involved where they put their predictions into the Discord server. If they have the most predictions right out of all the viewers, and or they beat myself or D-Murph in our following episode, which is the review episode, we will give you a shout out on the show. So be sure to head over to Discord as well and check that out. That link is also in the show notes and the video description. It's on the channel page on Twitch. You can also leave feedback to us at supergrappbros@gmail.com. And if you want to know when we're going live, in addition to just putting up notifications on Twitch, you can join the Discord server or follow myself or DMurph on Twitter. I am at L_Murpho. He is at DMurph_42. And you can check us out for announcements, random tweets, all that kind of stuff. And with that, we bring a close to episode 78 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast, and we end it as we do every episode with a kayfabe news article or headline of the episode. And this week's headline is: McMahon clarifies that the resurrected XFL is foosball, not football. Going to be getting some table action in the XFL. That's my Vince McMahon impression, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If not, don't worry. The episode's over. Take care. Peace. Deuces the deuce deuce. Laters. Bye-bye now. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Shut up and sit down.